Feel like Nostradamus. It's like I saw this coming. What did I see coming? Let me explain. Vybz Kartel broke the internet over the weekend when he showed up at the People's National Party conference with Chief Curry. Jamaicans were caught off guard. Jamaicans were surprised, both at home and in the diaspora. I wasn't really surprised, and I'll explain why. But before I do that, if it's your first time to this channel, please like, share, and subscribe so I can bring you more amazing content from in and around the Caribbean. So right here on the screen, you're going to see what happened when Vybz Kartel and Chief Curry popped up at the People's National Party convention in Kingston, Jamaica, and the pandemonium that took place on the arrival of Vybz Kartel. And I'm going to tell you why this is not a real surprise to me. This is something that I did a video about a few months ago, and it's something that came to my mind over 2 years ago. Let me explain why. So the reason why this is not a surprise for me, if you remember 2 years ago when Isaac Buchanan, that's Vybz Kartel lawyer, that decided to take the case to the Privy Council after the Jamaica High Court turned down the appeal. When Isaac Buchanan decided to take the case to the Privy Council over 2 years ago, simultaneously there was something else happening in Jamaica when the royal family visited Jamaica and the Prime Minister approached them about Jamaica ready to become a republic.
And we intend to attain in short order without any growth and fulfill our true ambitions and destiny as an independent, developed, prosperous country.
This was the announcement made by Prime Minister Andrew Hughes as he spoke to their Royal Highnesses, the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge, during a courtesy call on the Prime Minister Wednesday morning.
Jamaica is a very free and liberal country, and the people are very expressive, and I'm certain that you would have seen the spectrum of expressions yesterday. There are issues here which are, as you would know, unresolved. But your presence gives an opportunity for those issues to be placed in context, put front and center, and to be addressed in as best as we can.
The announcement comes as Jamaica is about to celebrate its 60th year of independence in August. The move towards becoming a republic is highlighted as part of the role of the new Ministry of Legal and Constitutional Affairs. It's to oversee and advise the government on the way forward in the transition towards becoming a republic. Minister Marlene Malahoo Ford, who was the country's former Attorney General, is heading up that ministry. For Jamaica to make this move, the Constitution has provisions that require a referendum, allowing the electorate to vote on the proposal before it heads to the legislature.
So Isaac Buchanan was successful in taking Vybz Kartel case to the Privy Council when the Privy Council decided that they will hear this case. Around that time, Vybz Kartel made a tweet saying, "Long live the Queen." Fast forward to 2024 when the Privy Council quashed the Vybz Kartel case and turned it back to the Jamaican Court Appeal for them to decide if they're going to have a retrial or if they're going to just throw out the case. At that time, I did a video stating that this would be interesting because Vybz Kartel, I feel at the time, is going to feel some type of loyalty to the Privy Council. And why is that important? Because with the JLP, the Prime Minister Andrew Holness going forward with a referendum to become a republic, one of the main things that the Prime Minister wanted was to move away from the Privy Council. And that would come in the referendum. What I stated in that video, that is going to be very interesting if Vybz Kartel came out of prison and decided that he was going to campaign for Jamaica to stay with the Privy Council. I don't know if that is what's happening now, why Vybz Kartel showed up at the People's National Party conference, because I know that the Prime Minister of Jamaica, Andrew Holness, and the opposition leader, Mark Golding, have two very different ideas when it comes on to the final court of Jamaica. I know the Prime Minister wants it to remain in Jamaica. I know the opposition leader is more leaning towards the Caribbean Court of Justice. And I don't know if he will compromise to keep it with the Privy Council. So this is going to be very interesting if Vybz Kartel, a dancehall superstar, is going to become such an influence in Jamaica political space that he could decide where a referendum goes. Because what is very interesting also is that in order for the referendum to go through, they're going to need majority vote. But what's said in Jamaica is that people 50 and over are in favor of staying with the monarch. They don't want to become a republic. And the younger generation are saying that, look, we should become a republic. Well, Vybz Kartel have an appeal with the younger generation. So it's going to be very interesting to see if this move is one of those moves where it's going to kind of disrupt Jamaica and the referendum becoming a republic. Because what people don't realize that Jamaica have been trying to become a republic since the mid-1970s and have been unsuccessful to be, becoming a republic. Trinidad did it in 1976 and Jamaica was trying before Trinidad, and 40 years later, and Jamaica is still not a republic. So it's going to be very interesting to see. So tell me what you think in the comment section. Do you think this is Vybz Kartel move, this political move? Are you surprised that Vybz Kartel turned up at the People's National Party convention? And do you think that this is a smart move for Vybz Kartel, just gaining freedom to jump in the political space? Sound off in the comment section and let me know what you think about this. Next up, Cliff Hughes goes off on the People's National Party for having Vybz Kartel at the conference. Let's take a look.
We stay home. And as one person put it to me this morning, we are glued into the American presidential election, following Trump and Kamala. But we don't take an active interest any longer in what goes on inside the People's National Party and the Jamaica Labour Party. We have abandoned that. To who? We have abandoned that political process to who Professor Don Robotham accurately but disparagingly described some years ago as a lumpens. The people who vote are not from the middling classes or the middle classes anymore. It is those at the base of the society. Those people vote. Those people go to conferences. Those people pack the arena. And what are we left with? We're left with a political process that is devoid, without that input of the middle classes, the educated middle classes, who historically have provided leadership in the country. We have left it up. And therefore, you got what you got yesterday at the PNP's conference. A man of questionable character is hailed as a hero And by the calculation of Dayton Campbell and Mark Golding, they have an election to win. And he has a whole lot of influence and sway. Therefore, they're not comfortable with it. When you listen to Campbell, Dayton Campbell and Angela Brown Burke struggling to justify it. But their calculation is we must win and win at all cost. While you who are listening to me this morning in northern St. Andrew, the suburbs, yeah, you wouldn't go to a conference. You don't even go vote. You're not going to vote. But those 15,000 at the arena yesterday, they vote. They do have a problem with that gentleman. They don't. They welcome him because they know it is going to resonate in their communities, in their districts, in their bars. But you turn up your noses and your faces at it and condemn it as it ought to be. As it ought to be. But what do you do about it? What do you expect when you turn your back on the process and you leave it up to them? That's what we get. And I dare say this morning, we are facing an existential threat to our democracy. If more and more of us, who this country has educated, given us a fairly decent life, continue to refuse to participate, then we're going down that slippery slope of no return. So when you condemn this morning, also commit that you must go back, find out which group is meeting, which branch is meeting, so you can go in there. Can you imagine? Just think about it. When that decision was made to have that gentleman on the stage, not in the audience, on the stage, who in the leadership of the PNP was courageous enough to stand up and say, no, not a backside? Who was courageous enough to do that? Huh? Where was Peter Bunting? Find that clip with Peter Bunting for me that speaks to that gentleman. Where were they?
Yes, so that was the voice of Cliff Hughes from Nationwide News. But is it just me, or does it seem like Cliff Hughes is discounting the working class Jamaican? It just seemed to me as if he is referring to the People's National Party supporter as like bottom of the barrel and wish that the middle class would participate more in the voting process. That's just how it comes off to me. I don't know. Let me know in the comment section if that's how you took it. But to what Cliff Hughes was saying, I've been around for a long time, and I would ask Cliff Hughes, when was the time in the history since Jamaica got independent when the middle class was a part of this voting process and this electoral process was better than it is now? Because as far as I can remember, the 1980s election, which 1980 was one of the most violent election. And when you talk to people today, you get the sense that Jamaicans have improved in terms of educating themselves about the electoral process, about educating themselves about what their intention when they go to the poll and what they're going to vote for, and that Jamaica is no longer a tribal type of community where we used to see this tribal politics where like my born PNP, I'm a dead PNP, or my born Labourite, I'm a dead Labourite. It doesn't seem like Jamaica has moved on from that, so I'm a bit confused as to what Cliff Hughes said in that recording about the middle class not voting, and pretty much seem like he's referring to the people that go to these conference as like, you know, uneducated, bottom of the barrel type of people who are voting. I don't know. Tell me if that's what you got, if that's what you got from what he was saying. But guys, I don't know. Vybz Kartel just know how to trend. Even before, like, he went away for 13 years, that was just something that he was good at. And he came back out and he has the internet on lock and key. So let me know what you think about all of this in the comment section. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing content. And remember, peace. I'm out.